Okay, just continuing where the last video left off. Most of our students don't communicate with people that they don't know online, which is obviously very, very promising. We did get a small percentage of students who said that they do. So obviously we need to do work around that and make sure that the message gets to everybody and that they know the reasons why that can be dangerous. Worryingly, 81% of students who filled in the survey take a smartphone or another internet-enabled device to bed with them at night. So all of those communication channels with people are open when they're in bed. Now, we looked at the types of things that they do on those devices, and it seems to be mainly things like playing music, playing games. Some even do their homework on it. Some will read on their device. But some students also say that they will communicate with their friends and things like that. So just the fact that they have the potential to communicate with people using their phone online and access sites that could have information we don't want them to come across really makes that job of educating students so much more important. So the places where students do communicate with people that they don't know tend to be through these apps here. So Facebook Messenger was the top one, Instagram was the next one, and then Twitter, and then there's a few other of the popular communication apps that they're using as well. And you can see things like Skype. There are students having video chats. Now, when you actually talk to students, a lot of this is talking to family, it's talking to friends. It's not necessarily talking to strangers. But again, it's important that we're aware of this and that we can give students the education about it. So this is how we approach online safety. We've talked about the dangers. We've looked at some of the stats. So what are we actually trying to do about it? Well, the first thing that we do in school is protection. So we obviously have all the necessary filters in place in school to stop people going to websites that they shouldn't be going to. Now, those filters are twofold. We have filters that come through Northumberland County Council on our internet line. Those filters have been set up by the local authority, and they meet the national requirements for protecting students online. We go further than that, though, and we also have our own filtering through Smoothwall, where we also make our own judgments about which sites are inappropriate, and then we further block things for certain students. Our filters are age-related, so you'll find that sixth form students have slightly less restrictions than younger students, as they may be looking at more sensitive topics online. And we've also, we can give them a little bit more responsibility when they get to that age as well. Besides the protection, we obviously review all of the records. We look at the websites that students visit, and we get reports about the websites that they try to access and can't access, which we can follow up on. So we look at all of those things, but the important bit is the education. So we do a whole raft of assemblies throughout the year for each year group. They are age appropriate, so they get more professional, I guess, as students get older. As they get older, it's more about their digital footprint. It's about being responsible online, giving a good impression of themselves, communicating with people and things like that. When they're younger, it's a lot about protecting themselves, privacy settings, not sharing passwords, making sure that they're not talking to people that they don't know, things like that. We have a full wellbeing day for year 7 on e-safety, and we also build in a whole host of activities into other wellbeing days for other year groups as they go through the year. We have a group of digital leaders who help to educate all students across the school. They also go out into the community, so they go to our feeder schools and they will talk to people in year 6 to educate students before they come up to the secondary school. We review everything, so we will look at the provision that we're giving students and we'll think about, is that still appropriate? Is there anything going on perhaps in the media or locally that's a safety concern, and do we need to build that into our education? We'll do surveys with parents, with staff, with students to get their impressions about our e-safety provision, see if there's anything that they want us to cover. And we also ask questions of our students to make sure that they are actually understanding the messages that we're giving to them. And if we need to, we'll adapt what we're doing. We review our protection regularly by looking at the filters, taking a look to see what else is out there, and looking at the reports that we get on the types of websites that students are trying to access to see if there's anything that we need to do to improve those. And if anybody wants to see the full plan, there is a link. We can send you a link to these slides and you can see the full plan, which includes everything that we do across these 3 strands. So I've covered most of this, so I'm just going to skip through these slides. The only thing I want to say about this one here is this quote from Dr. Tanya Byron, which is, young people need to be empowered to keep themselves safe. So children will be children, they'll push the boundaries, they'll take risks. And if they're at a swimming pool, we do all the safety stuff. We put gates up, have signs, lifeguards and shallow ends, but we also teach children how to swim. And that's really what this is about. It's teaching the kids how to swim and how to stay safe online. We do regularly audit our Esafety, so we've got review the policies every year. We have an annual audit from Northumberland County Council, which we come out very strong on, and we're currently going through the school's 360 Safe self-audit, and we're applying for that award. Again, I filled in the self-review there. We're very strong on it. It's now just a case of waiting for them to get back in touch so we can apply for that mark and hopefully get it. We have 3 CEOP ambassadors in school who get training from the police on Esafety, and we obviously go to all local events and things like that. So what are your responsibilities? Well, you need to really think about these things. So social media, who are you communicating with on social media? And we obviously advise all staff, and this would extend to governors, with the exception maybe of your family members. You know, we wouldn't expect people who are affiliated with the school to be befriending students or parents online using social media. So if you've got a Facebook account, just think about who you're actually in contact with. If you have access to any sensitive data, so if you sent any reports from Chris or anything like that, think about what data do you have access to and how do you know that that's secure. So if it's been sent you in an email, you know, do you have access to those emails on your phone, on a personal device? And if you lost that phone, could somebody open up those emails and potentially see that sensitive information? So you just need to think about, have you got passwords on those devices? And if you haven't, and you do access your emails, I would strongly suggest that you put a PIN code or a password on that device. We're not saying not to access those emails, it's just thinking about who can get access to it. If you transfer anything by USB, again, just make sure that it doesn't have sensitive information on it. If you lost that USB device, who could look at it and who could access that information? And for staff in school, we have encrypted USB devices that we give people who regularly need to transport any sensitive data. If you have any concerns, this middle bit here, you can direct them straight to Chris Calder. In school, we'll ask people to come to either myself or Jill Travers, depending on how serious something is. But if you address your concerns to Chris, Chris will know the appropriate person to pass them on to within school. Just make sure that you understand the dangers. We've been through them in this presentation, so it's just a case of maybe reviewing those and making sure that you personally have an understanding of that. And then, how professional is your digital footprint? So if you're on things like Twitter, or even if you're leaving reviews on a shopping site online or something like that, if people know that you're affiliated with the school, what impression are you giving about yourself and about the school through your interactions with people online? So what next? Well, I'm currently in the process of redrafting policies to be in place by September 17. What we've got currently is fully compliant. They're all fine, but technology is evolving, and I just want to update them to take into account some of the new tools that we are using and we're working on this year. Hopefully, we will be successful in the 360 Safe Award. We're working with our filtering provider, Smoothwall, to try to improve the monitoring reports we get on the way our students are using technology. Our digital leaders are going to expand their role to do more training with students, staff and parents, and we're hoping to bring some new students on board with that next year. We're going to make more regular